9.2, we are still talking about right triangles. In 9.2, we're talking about special right triangles, and I'll get into that in a second. This first part says go to GeoGebra and construct a triangle with side lengths of 4 units. Okay, this is going to be a 45, 45, 90. I am not going to do side lengths of 4. I'm going to make a side lengths of 1. So instead of 4 and 4, I did 1. Oh, and 1. Okay. The reason for that, if I go back here, what's the ratio of this side to this side? 4 over 4 would be 1, right? So this is just going to help us fill in the next part. So I did the side lengths of 1. Okay. Can we solve for this side over here? We can, right? If it's a 90-degree angle, we can say that 1 squared, or this is 1 and this is 1, we can say that 1 squared plus 1 squared is going to equal x squared, right? And the ratio here is 1 plus 1 equals x squared. 1 plus 1 is 2, that equals x squared. We're going to square root it. So x is going to equal 2. The things about this triangle we want to notice, sorry, not 2, just square root of 2. Okay. So, the square root of 2. What I want to notice, what I want you to notice, is we have 45 degrees, we have 45 degrees. Okay, what happens when they're 45 degrees? These angle measures are the same. Okay? And this distance here is the square root of 2. X times the square root of 2. X in this case is 1. So, if I go back here, and these distances are 4 and 4, I know that this angle is 45 degrees. I know that this angle is 45 degrees. And what do I know about this side? It is 4 times the square root of 2. And a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Down here, they want us to construct another triangle that is 30, 60, 90. This is another special triangle where this angle is 30 and this angle is 60. I'm not going to go on GeoGebra for this one. We're just going to talk through this. Okay. The best way to talk through this is to show some examples down here. Okay. Let's start here with the 45, 45, 90 triangle. Like I said before, if we have x's on the sides, this number here in our hypotenuse is going to be those side lengths times the square root of 2. That's going to be the distance. Okay. Or leg times the square root of 2. In a 30, 60, 90 triangle, we have the short leg in blue here. There's our short leg. That's x. The hypotenuse in red is 2 times that short leg. So whatever our short leg is, that times 2 is going to be our hypotenuse. So if I go up here, back to my example, here's my short leg, it's 3. Right, so my hypotenuse is going to be 2 times 3, which is going to be 6. Okay. My short leg, or my long leg, is going to be x, so my short leg times the square root of 3. So back up here, this long leg is going to be 3 times the square root of 3. So this is x, and that's 3. This is going to be 2 times 3 equals 6. This is 3. So 3 times the square root of 3. And this is just going to take some practice from you. Okay. Next exercise is 1 through 4. Find the value of x. Write your answer in simplest form. So x. Right here we have 10. This is also 10 because we have 45 degrees. This is also 45 degrees. Okay, so what's x? Well, if we don't know what the special case is for a 45-45 triangle, 45-45-90, you can go up here. It is the side length times the square root of 2. Okay, so x, in this case, is 10 times the square root of 2. Okay, and that is in simplest form. Okay, next one. We have the square root of 2 over 2 for our side lengths. Okay, those are our side lengths. Let's say 45-45-90 triangle. X would be the one of the legs, so 2 square root of 2 over 2 times the square root of 2. And we can simplify this. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 over 1, we could even say. What's the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? Square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is just 2 over 2 times 1, which is 2, which equals 1. So x is 1 in that case. Number 3, again, we have the same x and x. It's a 45-45-90 triangle. If 8 times the square root of 2, okay, 8 times the square root of 2, well, x is just going to be 8, right? 8 times the square root of 2. We could do a little more math here. We could say x equals x square root of 2. They plugged 8 in, so x equals 8 square root of 2, where 8 and 8, so x has to equal 8. X. We know that x times the square root of 2 is equal to 12. Okay. How do I solve for this? We can divide by the square root of 2, so x equals 12 divided by the square root of 2. If you go back to algebra, we cannot have the square root of 2 on bottom, so we have to multiply both sides by the square root of 2. 12 times the square root of 2, so x is equal to 12 square root of 2 over 2, which equals 6 square root of 2. Okay, you cannot have the square root of 2 on the bottom of a fraction. So, what did I do? Multiply by square root of 2 over square root of 2. That's just like multiplying by 1. Okay, therefore, multiply straight across. 12 times the square root of 2 is 12 square root of 2. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just 2. And then simplify. We have 12 over 2, which is 6. Okay. Going back to this one, number 3. I could also say x square root of 2 equals 8 square root of 2. Okay? And I can divide square root of 2 on both sides. Right? Those cancel. What am I left with? X equals 8. So, a couple different ways to do number 3. Number 4, I really think there's only just that one way. If you find another way, please ask, or please talk to me. Okay. Let's go down here. Number 5, find the values of x and y write your answers in simplest form. So we have the short leg here, which is 15. We have the long leg here, which is x. Remember the hypotenuse y is just 2 times the short leg, so 15 equals y. So 30 is equal to y. If we don't know that other leg, let's go up here, let's take a look. That long leg is x, so our short leg times the square root of 3. So x is going to equal 15 times the square root of 3. Okay, this one, we know that y is 22 divided by 2. Okay, which is y is equal to 11. And x would equal 11 times the square root of 3. Number 7. I'm going to start here at 9. Okay, that 9 was x times the square root of 3 equals 9. Okay, because that's that side. I'm going to divide by the square root of 3. Okay, so x is equal to 9 over the square root of 3. Again, I cannot have a square root on the bottom of a fraction. So I'm going to multiply by 1. I'm going to put that 1 to use. I'm going to multiply by the square root of 3. And multiply straight across. I get 9 times the square root of 3 over 3. Okay, and then I can simplify 9 and 3. X is equal to 3 square root 3. Now it's all for y. Y is 2 times that short leg, which is 3 square root 3. Okay, now simplify. We have 6 square root 3 equals y. Perfect. Down here, sketch the figure that is described. Then find the indicated length. Round decimal answers to the nearest tenth. The length of a diagonal in a square is 32 inches. So if I draw a square here, the length of this diagonal is 32 inches. Find the perimeter of the square. Okay, so we know that both of these are x. And when these are both x, we know that this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Okay. What's our rule with a 45, 45, 90 triangle? Well, we know that 32 is equal to x times the square root of 2. Okay, so if I divide the square root of 2 on both sides, I get 32 over the square root of 2 equals x. I have to multiply by the square root of 2 on top and bottom. Okay, so I'll get 32 square root of 2 over 2. Now simplify. 16 square root of 2 is equal to x. Okay, so that's each side length of the square. Now, it says find the perimeter. So I have to multiply that by 4. What's 16 times 4? 16, 32, 48, 64. 64 square root of 2. Oh, that's our perimeter. I'm just going to circle it. Okay. 64 square root of 2 inches. Okay. Next, number 9. an isosceles triangle with a base angles. Okay, so we have an isosceles triangle where this is 30, this is 30 degrees. It has an altitude of square root of 3 meters. So this altitude right down the middle is square root of 3. And find the length of the base. So I need this and this. Okay, it's 30. This is 90. So this is this with 60. So 30, 60, 90. This is going to be x. Okay, and remember, that side length was x times the square root of 3. So, I'm going to do my math over here. X equals x times the square root of 3. Okay? Okay, this math wouldn't make sense. So I think I messed up somewhere. I'm going to erase my math. Okay, I'm going to pay attention. Which side is my long side in the 30, 60, 90 triangle? So if I go up here, back to my example problem. The side that attaches my 60-degree angle to my 90-degree angle, that's always my shortest side line. Okay, so I actually have my drawing up right here with me, which is perfect. Okay, which means the square root of 3 has to be my shortest side. So I'm going to erase this. I'm going to redo this. Okay, I'm going to redo it right here. So my base has to be longer than my altitude, something like this. Okay, because this is 60. This is my short side. This is the square root of 3. Here's 30. Okay? Now, I want to find my base. This is x squared root of 3. Okay, so x squared root of 3 equals the square root of 3. Divide by the square root of 3. You get x is equal to 1. My apologies. My apologies. I did that wrong. X times the square root of 3. Well, if x is the square root of 3, we have the square root of 3 times the square root of 3. That's going to equal 3. Okay, so each base is 3, which means our entire base is 6. 6. We can go back down to our problem. 6 meters. Okay, so my apologies. I screwed up on that one a little bit. But that's alright. We'll keep going. We'll keep working. Mistakes are bound to happen in math. Number 10. Find the area of triangle DEF. Round decimal answers to the nearest 10. Okay. Okay. We have to break this down. This is broken down into 2 separate triangles. Right now, we're going to spend our focus on this triangle. Okay? This angle right here, that's 60 degrees, which means this side here is x. Okay? This side here, 7 square root of 3 is x square root of 3. Okay, and that is equal to 7 square root of 3. Cross out my x's, or my square roots of 3, I get x is equal to 7. So right here, x is equal to 7. What do I know about this side length? Well, it's equal to 2 times x. And in this case, it's 7. So this is equal to 14. And this side here is 14. Which means this entire side is 28. Okay. But I need to find the area. And the area of a triangle, remember, is base times height divided by 2. And I don't have one of them. I can find, however, we're now focusing on this triangle, the big triangle. I know that if this hypotenuse is 28, this is 28 divided by 2, which is equal to 14. So my height is 14. I have base times 14 divided by 2. Now I have to find my base. How do I do that? Well, if we're working on the big triangle, I know that this base, this whole base, I shouldn't have erased, but I did, is x square root of 3, where x is 14. So this base is 14 square root of 3. Okay, now I just plug that into my equation. I have 14 times the square root of 3 divided by 2. If I go to my calculator, I have 14 times, let's get this out of the way, 14 times the square root of 3 equals, divide that by 2, and I'll get 169.7. So 169.7, where are we at? Move this. We'll just say units squared. And that is all.